Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior and accomplished professional from New York, USA, Ashley Stahl. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Ashley is the founder of Wise Whisper Agency. So, Ashley, my first question for you. Tell me a little bit about your journey and what problem were you looking to solve when you set up your Wise Whisper agency?
Yeah, I started a Wise Whisper agency because I think that everyone has a wise whisper inside of them, an intuitive nudge. And I heard this quote a long time ago that intuition is knowing what you know without knowing why you know it.
Mhm.
And I think we all know things and we all have information coming through us. And a lot of people don't realize that their story could really help someone. And not just their story, but the tactical, practical thinking that they've developed over the years about how to navigate their lives.
Mm.
And so Wise Whisper was really a tribute to me having built a speaking career with no speaking experience. We all start somewhere, and usually it's with no experience.
Mhm.
And so I started getting on stages in my early 20s, and that evolved into a full paid speaking career. And I just realized there's not anything necessarily too special about me. I just fell into something, and I'm a great writer. That's one gift
Mhm.
I have.
Mhm.
And I knew that there were other people out there that were amazing souls that were meant to get out there and speak.
Hmm. Very interesting. There was an interesting term picked up when I was going through the documents you sent me, which was a signature talk.
Yeah.
How do you define a signature talk in strategic brand terms and not just content terms?
Yeah, a signature talk. The thing that we believe in the most is that everyone has some sort of original thinking.
Hmm.
And original thinking to me does not mean it's never been said before. It means it's never been said in the way that you're saying it.
Right.
And people really struggle to learn what their signature thinking or their original thinking is
Hmm.
because it's hard to read the label when you're stuck in the jar. It's hard to
Right.
know what you're saying that's really landing for people.
Hmm.
And so I always tell clients, do what you can to ask clients and customers and product users for feedback so that you can get some clarity from them on where you're saying something that's actually changing their life.
Hmm. Interesting. And what is the underlying framework you use to convert personal stories into scalable intellectual property?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, when they want to become a speaker, they do have a powerful story. But what they don't realize is that when you're speaking, it's not just about having a story, it's about actionable, practical takeaways for other people. So
Hmm.
even if your story is inspirational, what you don't want is for people to walk out inspired, but unclear on what they should do for themselves.
Hmm.
And so, I think one of the most common mistakes people make is just assuming that their story is the thing. Your story is a vehicle through which you can share and speak. It
Hmm.
is not the only destination that you should be speaking from. The
Hmm.
destination is actionable takeaways for the audience. That's why meeting bookers pay speakers to inspire their audience because the inspiration comes with action.
Hmm. Interesting. And what criteria do you use to decide whether a client is stage ready?
Yeah. I do think that a lot of these skills are learnable, but you have to
Hmm.
have the desire to really learn them, and some
Right.
people may not have that. I actually don't see myself as I'm a great communicator, but I don't necessarily see myself as a speaker. And the reason being, the top paid speakers are performers. They are actors just as much as they are speakers. And being an actor doesn't mean you're not being genuine, but being an actor means that they are delivering a performance just as much as they're sharing a story.
Hmm.
The best speakers have practiced. They've thought about what they want to say. Maybe they've even memorized their talk. Maybe they've taken some time to write down everything they have to say and they've
Hmm.
fully memorized it because they know that the impact is going to hit differently if they have something that is coming out properly, word
Hmm.
for word.
Hmm. Wow. How do you adapt messaging for diverse client segments such as corporate executives, versus activists and versus wellness experts. Apologies.
That's okay. So you're saying, how do I segment messaging from each of them?
Because they're a very, very diverse group of people,
Yeah.
activists, executives, and wellness people.
A lot of people make the mistake of assuming that they should create a talk or a speech based on a message.
Hmm.
I don't believe in that. I believe you do not have a message. I believe you have many messages. And the best way to discover your top few messages, because you have many,
Mm,
is to instead of asking yourself, what's my message? Ask yourself, where do I have the most original thought? What topic can I comfortably speak on? And of those topics, which ones do I have the most original thinking? And if I don't know where I have the most original thinking, things coming out of my mouth that are things that are activating people and moving people forward and making people think differently, then the next line of work is to ask the people in your life, what have I said about this topic or that topic that has
mm,
moved the needle for you?
mm,
Because once you discover your original thinking, you're able to craft a talk that is very unique and different.
mm,
And at the end of the talk, you can look at it and zoom out and say, okay, what am I actually trying to say here?
mm. Interesting. And
Yeah.
what are some of the common blind spots clients bring when they approach your agency?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest blind spot is what you just asked me is people say, well, I don't know what my message is. And they're very focused on what is my message. I
Mm,
do think we all have a message and multiple messages. But I wish clients were coming in saying, help me figure out where I have the most unique thoughts
mhm,
that are the most valuable for people. So I think that's probably the biggest block is people just not having clarity. If you're speaking and you're not clear on where you're the most powerful, your impact with the audience is going to be limited.
mm,
And I think that clarity starts with understanding much more about you and less about the audience
mm,
is what is your goal from speaking?
mm,
Everybody who wants to speak wants to help people, or at least I'd like to think so. They want to be of service. And that's a beautiful thing. But if they can't tune into what do they really want out of the speaking for themselves, being more selfish for a moment. Do you want to get paid more? Do you want to
mm,
book more paid speaking? Do you want to make more revenue for your business? Do you want to get donations for a nonprofit you care about? Do you want more authority so that you can attract a book deal? Like understanding, and maybe you've made it and you're there and you've done it and you just want to leave a massive legacy, well, then you need to be booking more paid gigs. Or maybe you don't care if they're paid, but you need to be booking more gigs that are in front of powerful audiences, bigger audiences, audiences of change makers. Knowing what that means, knowing that goal for you allows you to say, okay, now let me look at my topics that I can speak on. Let me look at where I have original thinking, and
mm,
let me get clear on which of these topics are going to serve this goal the best so that you
mm,
can find that bliss point, that sweet spot between what does the audience want from you? What audience do you want to be in front of? And where do you have the best things to say that
mm.
will lend themselves to your message?
Great response. Thank you.
Yeah.
My next question actually is how do you balance storytelling, data, and actionable insights into a high impact talk? And if possible, give me an example.
Yeah, I would say your story is not the entire enchilada, it's the backdrop of the
Mm,
talk.
mm,
So if you have a crazy story about having kids and dealing with hardship, your talk is really about hardship. And you need to have actionable points about hardship. And when you talk about your points, when you go through your talk, you will be sharing your story,
yeah.
but your story is not what you lead with. It's the topic that's giving actionable points and value. It's the theme that the audience needs help with that
Mm,
you're leading with. And that's the misunderstanding. People think they just need to get up there and share their story. Unless you have the most wild story with the most clear guidance that anyone's heard, you don't want to lead with, this is my story, listen. You want
mm,
to lead with, here's what this talk is really about, right? So, like I said, if you had kids and you had a lot of hardship, you don't want to talk about your kids and your personal experience the whole time. You want to
mm,
be educating people about hardship. You want to be asking yourself, what are the top three things that I've learned about hardship? How do I back those with research? And how do I use my story throughout the talk to demonstrate what the
Mm,
research and what I'm saying is in real time.
mm. Well said. How do you identify the right stage for a client rather than just a big stage?
Yeah, I think it's really about understanding your ideal viewer. It's about
Mm,
understanding um, what is that person Googling at 3 in the morning when you're the best possible person to help them.
mm. Okay. How
So
do you
I would,
sorry, go
yeah.
ahead. Go
Oh
ahead,
no,
please.
go ahead. That's it.
Okay. How do you integrate speaking with broader personal branding assets like books and podcasts?
Yeah, I would say, how do I, tell me the question one more time.
How do you integrate speaking with broader personal branding assets like books and podcasts?
Yeah, I think that they all go together, but you really want to understand your goal, right? That's why this kind of starts off there. Like if
Mm,
your goal is to be a paid speaker, then your book should support that, your podcast should support that, and your speaking should support that. And then the deeper question of which topic
mm.
supports that and which topic do I have the most original thinking?
Right.
As far as podcasts go, I think that if you have a signature talk, and so what we do at Wise Whisper is we help people come up with their signature talk. And from there, we help them figure out how they can get themselves booked on
Mm,
major stages
mm,
with that. And a lot of that has to do with having a talk that gets you selected to be on these stages, that it's so well done, it's so
mm,
inspirational and tactical and original that that's what people want more of. And so
mm.
I think for what you're asking me around podcast and books, I think it comes back to this clarity piece. They should all be sending people to the things that you want.
Mm, mm. And what, in your view, is the relationship between a keynote talk and long-term brand monetization?
Yeah, I would say a long-term talk and monetization, I think that those both can coexist. My talk on the TEDx channel, which I mean, with 45 million subscribers, it's the biggest stage in the world. And so
Mm,
I'm not surprised a lot of clients ask us about how to optimize their TEDx applications
mhm,
and how to get selected. And while I'm not affiliated with TEDx, I've probably helped over 150 people get a TEDx talk.
mhm,
And what I found from mine is that number one, it has almost 10 million views. It's one of the top 100 most views talks. All I knew when I was writing it was I need to share my original thinking and I need the right people to see this.
mm.
And I don't need to be so on the nose. I don't need to tell people to buy my book. I don't need to tell people to hire me. I just need to empower them and be the
Yeah.
most powerful speaker they could possibly remember.
Mm,
And I've probably sold over 5,000 books a year from that one talk because people just keep finding me and searching me over and over. And so
mm,
the hack is not to think about your business goals. Like first you want to think about them, right? What are my goals? What is the best topic for this? Where do I have the most original thought that helps this
mhm.
audience? And then from there, you kind of let go and let God. From there, you say to yourself, okay, now what's the most powerful talk and
Yeah.
powerful original thinking I have for this audience to be blown away? And trust that they're going to go find you and you don't need to shamelessly self-promote.
Thank you. And how do you position clients for authority versus visibility? And where do most people get this wrong?
Yeah, as far as authority versus visibility, I actually see those similar. I think there's a big difference between authority and credibility.
Mhm,
Credibility is about being legitimate. It's about having your career behind you. It's about having a training or two behind you. It's about having experience. It's about some sort of seasoning or legitimacy to what you have to say. A lot of doctors have plenty of credibility. They've gone to medical school. They can go do surgery. But a lot of doctors, nobody knows who they are. There's, a bajillion clinics, anybody could pick one. And the difference between someone who picks you is often authority. There's
mhm,
something about your brand and what you're saying that differentiates you. If you all have the same reviews and the same education,
mhm,
authority is the thing that makes you different. And authority, becoming a household name or being known for what you have to say, really comes down to how powerful you are as a speaker and the places you park your talks,
mhm,
right? So the TEDx channel is one of many powerful places you can go. There's other YouTube channels like Goalcast, for example, that put speakers on there and skyrocket their influence. There's a lot of influencers and bloggers that have huge stages that would invite other people on to speak.
Mm,
Stages don't have to be with a red dot or a big audience. They
mm,
could be just like what you and I are doing right now. This can be a stage.
Interesting. And what metrics do you use to measure authority beyond social media visibility?
I would say, authority comes in many different moments. But what I will say is that people are reaching out to you all the time for opportunities because you have authority.
Hmm.
I have about 1,300 pieces of PR on me, and I've never pitched myself for any PR. At least I haven't since probably 2012.
Hmm.
So it's been over 15 years since I've submitted myself to get a PR opportunity.
Hmm.
That's authority. It's people are seeking you out
Hmm.
and seeing you as the expert. Another area that I would say you have authority. I went to a book launch in New York. I was a friend's plus one, and the woman who it was her book coming out was a career expert, and she has millions of followers on social media. I actually didn't even know she was a career expert, but I was a career coach for 12 years and I built a
Hmm.
brand around it, and I'm no longer doing that because I have Wise Whisper. But when I walked into the party, I had no idea it was a career expert. And she looked at me and I didn't even know it was her party because I was just being the plus one. And she goes, "Oh, Ashley Stahl, I've seen your work." And
Amazing.
it was so interesting for me to see that. And she goes, I'm a career expert. And I was like, oh. And so it was just feedback. Like I positioned myself as the authority in that
Hmm.
space. And so if you are a career coach and you are searching career coaching content or career coaching advice, you've probably found my content.
Hmm.
That's what makes you the authority.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Your model emphasizes minimal work for clients, maximum creativity from your team. How do you operationalize this?
Yeah. Tell me this one more time. I'm listening to what you said.
Your model
Maximum.
emphasizes minimal work for clients, maximum creativity from your team. How do you
Yeah. I mean,
operationalize this?
we've built Wise Whisper on white glove services, writing talks for people, booking
Hmm.
talks for people. But we've actually started to simmer that down because we've had so many people that want to work with us, and it's when we're white glove and we get the best creatives in the world, like Steve
Hmm.
Jobs' right hand for executive speech writing. It's expensive and it's got to be a white glove service. And so what we've done is instead of doing everything for people, we've started to create coaching intensives. We have small cohorts of 15 people. I co-lead them with my creative directors, and it's made it a lot more affordable. And we're teaching people how to write their own talk. We're teaching people how to get themselves booked. We're teaching people how to land more paid gigs. And
Hmm.
so we're taking a lot of the work off of our team and putting it back towards the client for a much more affordable price.
Hmm. Time for two more questions for you. How do you maintain consistency and quality across multiple clients and projects simultaneously?
Yeah, I would say one of the most powerful things I've done when it comes to hiring and selecting top achieving creatives is I've learned that there's a whole world of high top achievers,
Hmm.
and it takes a while to find them and tap into them. And once you find a super gifted person, you're able to say, "Hey, who's as gifted as you are at this?"
Hmm.
And usually that person will look at me with 10 or 15 years of a career behind them, and they'll only have one name of somebody.
Hmm.
And so once you tap into a top achiever, they know where the other achievers are.
Okay. And my last question for you, Ashley. Can you share a transformation story where a client went from unknown to a high impact speaker and what specifically drove that change?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually quite simple. We had one client, we've had many clients, and most of them have gone pretty viral if they go on YouTube, but one comes to mind. Her name is Erica Glenn, an amazing woman. She had an executive career that she had made a huge impact through, really good at what she was doing. But in her heart, she knew she was meant to be speaking on stages. We helped coach her through how to craft her signature talk. And she crafted a talk that got 2.5 million views in 100 days. And she ended up transitioning out of her career for a while and just doing speaking. And I think that's why we do what we do, is we know that when you put the right talent in front of the right people,
Hmm.
they can change the world. And I think that's something that she's doing.
Amazing. And on that note, I just want to say what a fascinating conversation this has been. I think you gave us some very interesting pointers on speaking, on getting a gig for people, how to present themselves, how to use their books and podcasts, and how generally to be able to really speak in front of a large audience, which is generally a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me some amazing thoughts, and good luck to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.